Hey everybody, it's your girl Bondy Blue and I am back for another This Is Us review, y'all. Yes! Y'all know this is like one of the only shows that as soon as I sit down to watch it, I'm just like it just gives all the good feels. So like when it comes on, I'm happy to sit down and watch it. Like, cause sometimes y'all note taking is so tedious and there's a lot of rewinding and all of this stuff. So sometimes it can just be a little bit too much. But with This Is Us, like I'm always just so excited to sit down and watch the show. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it now that I've given y'all my feelings about the show, like I do every episode review, as if y'all don't already know I love it. But you never know who's coming in new and they need to be refreshed about how much I love this show and that this is a passion project for me. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. So Jack and Rebecca, back in the day, okay, with the 3 original babies in the belly, getting ready for their first dinner in their first house. And Rebecca wants everything to be just right. And she's kind of obsessing a little bit. You know, it's this traditional thing that she wants to do, right? Just so it can feel solidified that we're moving forward. We're in a new house. So that is going to play throughout the episode. Fast forward to Rebecca when the kids are teenagers. And teenage Kate is getting ready for dinner with Kevin and his new wife, Sophie. Okay, y'all know that they were like little high school sweethearts and stuff. And then they just got married out of the blue and now they're coming home to have dinner. And Kate is rather bothered by it, okay? Because y'all know she always feels like Kevin has talked to her about whatever decision he's going to make, all right? Randall and his new girlfriend, Beth, are also coming to dinner, and Miguel, okay? Because Miguel had been helping Rebecca with her new house and everything. Miguel had come and talked down the realtor on the price of the home, and then he fixed the gutters. I mean, he's been helping. So the least they can do is give him an invitation to dinner, and he's going to bring some fantastic wine. So it's definitely a two-way street. Kate makes a comment about Miguel being there all the time. So at some point, Miguel must have really been the shoulder for Rebecca. And then that went away. And then early 2000s, they started talking again, remember? So I think like 10 years had went by without them speaking to one another. But this is before that happened, thank God, because Rebecca needed somebody. I mean, just rough around the edges, but I do love this length of hair on her. I just wish she would go get a color. You know what I'm saying? Like, geez. Kate has her sleazy little boyfriend down at the record store, and she hasn't told her mom about it yet. Marinate on that. Randall is a nervous wreck, per usual, and Kate is being a brat, per usual. Randall is making a list of things to fix around the house because he just has to take care of everybody. It's something that Beth is starting to notice about Randall, almost like a nervous compulsion to constantly try to find a way to make everybody feel comfortable and to fix everybody, because otherwise he is just constantly, in a nervous state. Randall turns to Beth and says that, he has to help his mom around the house because it's just her now. And then Kate says, no, actually, I'm here all the time. And it's like, yeah, but you don't do nothing. That's the point. You don't do nothing. Like, y'all, Kate really works on my nerves, especially in this teenage area. Like, it progressed, you know what I'm saying? It kept going. But, right up in this teenage area after Jack died, it's like she just really dug her heels into feeling sorry for herself, and it is just obnoxious sometimes, just so obnoxious. So Beth gifts them with some hot sauce. Apparently it's something that her dad would do because he loved hot sauce so much he had to make sure that whoever's home he was going to have dinner at had the hot sauce. So he brought it as a gift, which I respect, because I feel like it's classier than coming with your own in your purse. Like, oh, here's hot sauce, thank you, let me use it. Yeah, that's really classy based. And everybody kind of has this moment where they just kind of freeze. And Beth is like, so you guys don't like hot sauce? And then Rebecca explains that Jack loved hot sauce and he would put it on anything and everything. And then they commiserate on how both Beth and Randall's fathers loved hot sauce to a disgusting degree. Kevin shows up and carries Sophie over the threshold. Yes, it's weird, it's awkward, it's extra, okay? Kevin tells a story about how they got engaged and how it was just a sign. She's like, oh my God, babe, tell him about the sign. And it's like, okay, so we're walking down the street holding hands, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how grateful I am to have Sophie in my life. And it's this beautiful day. And then, like, I stopped to tie my shoe, and when I look up at her, there's this theater behind us that's playing The Bride Princess, or The Princess Bride. It's The Princess Bride, right? Okay, I'm sorry. It's The Princess Bride, and that's their favorite movie. Oh my God, okay? And then there's a vendor on the street selling, guess what? And Randall is like, rings? And he was like, no, that would have been great, but bracelets. So it's like, oh my God, like, we have to get engaged. And so he got down on one knee right there and proposed to her, and it's so sweet, and oh my God. And I'm just like, that don't sound like no sign to me. That sounds like a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. When a day that lies ahead of me seems impossible a thing. When someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. Oh yeah, and I forgot, church bells rang. Was it noon? They do that. Like, never mind, okay? Then Kate's little boyfriend shows up. This little boyfriend is creep master. Why don't you creep a little faster? Shout out to Have Plenty. So he got her address from her application at the record store and got some flowers from a neighbor's yard, and then proceeded to show up. And because Kate is insecure and needs to feel like someone wants her, she invites this creep into her home for dinner with her family. And then he gives a lot of weird music facts during dinner, and it's awkward and weird. But okay, he's a kid. He works in a record store. That's not a really great sign that he's going to be abusive or anything, but something made me feel like that. We'll get to it. Okay, I'm going in order. But Kevin isn't feeling it. Kevin says it's just something about him. No, not feeling it. And Randall isn't feeling it all that much either, but he doesn't want to be as, crass as Kevin is being. I just kind of feel like so many foreshadowings about this guy. He looks a little crazy. He looks like an unsub. He looks like the kid of an unsub. He looks like the kid that an unsub would attract himself to teach him how to become a great unsub. If you don't watch Criminal Minds, you don't know what I'm talking about. So, of course, Kate is mad that Kevin isn't feeling her new boyfriend. Rebecca comes into the kitchen and tells them that this isn't great. She knows it, okay? This hasn't been great for her either, finding out that her son just got married and only having 4 pictures from that marriage, okay? Her husband just died. She's in a brand new house. Like, it's a whole bunch of things that are not going great right now. You know what? They need to move forward regardless, okay? They need to move forward, and they need to pull themselves together and pretend they like raw, burnt food, because that's what she's prepared, and take their whiny little asses back out in those seats and enjoy her dinner. And this was the first time I feel like I'd ever seen Rebecca pop on somebody like that. Like whiny asses. I really appreciated this because your kids are somewhat entitled and annoying. So it was nice for you to remind them that somebody else's feelings besides their own are a little important right now. Let's not act like asses. Just for mom's sake. Randall is like the only one that ever really thinks about his mom's feelings, which is why he is the favorite. And they hate it. They hate it so much. So Rebecca burnt the food, and then it was raw on the bottom. Remember that. So everyone is like slowly trying to eat this terrible food. And then Rebecca talks to Miguel about feeling like the loss of Jack might be too big for them to get over. And Miguel gets out the wine and starts telling her the story of the wine and how much of a process it is and how they have to be patient to get the right taste at the right time. And then if the weather changes, they have to adapt to it. But the main thing is being patient And she's going to have to be patient with herself and the time that it's going to take her and the family to get past the loss of Jack. And it takes time. And then even if it takes time, it never really leaves you. So Rebecca and Miguel go back to the table and she tells everyone the story of the first dinner that we saw at the beginning of the episode and how she had burnt the lasagna and then the table didn't have a leg on it, but when they finally put a ladder under the table and got the lasagna out the oven and decided to eat it regardless of the fact that it was burnt, a bird flies through the window. And Jack, who is deathly afraid of birds, is trying to protect his pregnant wife as well as fend off a bird that he's extremely scared of. And he's screeching at this very high decibel. And it is hilarious, okay? And as soon as they, realize that the lasagna has somehow fallen onto the floor, they realize that they can't make it perfect and they have to just take it for what it is. And once that happened, it became like the best time that they, had ever had, just together dealing with what it was, So in this moment, that's what they decide to do. Rebecca orders some pizzas, we tell some stories, and she tells the kids that they have to start talking about both sides of it, the happy parts and the sad parts that you feel now that your parent is gone. And I like y'all, that's the one thing that I never would have a problem with. I call my mom because I would just feel it all of a sudden. Like I'd be driving, maybe a song will come on, or maybe I just think about him and I would just get so overwhelmed out of nowhere and just burst into tears. But you have to talk about it because that's the only way you can really deal with it. And I can remember like having these conversations where me and my mom are both on the phone crying because, either she thought of him and had a moment, or it was their anniversary, which is Christmas. Their anniversary. They got married on the Christmas after I was born. My mom's birthday is 2 days later. Like it's a whole ordeal in December. So it happens. Yeah, I relate to this so much. It's ridiculous. Like, it hurts my heart, but I love it at the same time. You gotta talk about it, y'all. So, Rebecca sings a song as her wedding present for Kevin and Sophie, and it's one of the songs from Princess Bride, and it's so beautiful, and she's playing it on the piano that she got for this house, right? Keep that in mind. So, Tess, y'all know that is the biological oldest by Beth and Randall, and she is stressing about school. She has so many things that she's trying to keep track of, obviously getting her nervous tendencies from Randall. Just comes back into the door after running a 10-mile run, y'all. 10 miles. I think I might have been on my elliptical for like 4 or 5 today, but not 10. Jesus. So y'all, Deja is still mad that Randall will not let her date Malik's little baby mama having it. Sorry. That's the truth of the situation. And he's like, how about we mix the cereals like you like, and she's like, so you think that mixing cereals is going to make me forget that you don't think that I'm mature enough to choose who I date? He's like, yeah, that's the idea. And Beth was like, baby, you got to get a new idea. I said, it may not make it better, but at the end of the day, you are not mature enough. I know you think you are, but you're not. You're not. But at the same time, I kind of would let her make that mistake for herself. And if she end up pregnant, Jesus, y'all better help her. I'm going to tell you right now. So Kay calls about the baby's gift. Okay, we're in recent time. Kate calls because Randall and Kevin are supposed to be sending her this gift for the baby, and they always go all out. They always do the Pearson men's grand gesture. So she and Toby are like anticipating and excited about whatever Kevin and Randall have sent. And Randall says that Kevin just wants his name to be put on it, but of course Randall did all the work, per usual. Kay says that she's worried about Kevin, especially since she found out that he bought this trailer in Pennsylvania. She's also hating on Toby and his muscle gain and his weight loss. She's hating on that. I really need for her to get it together. Like, please get it together. This man cannot be unhealthy to make you feel good about yourself. Randall meets with Uncle Frank, y'all. If you don't know who Uncle Frank is, that means you didn't watch Moesha. Okay? Like, I don't care what the councilman's name is on this show. That is Uncle Frank, and that is what we will call him on This Is Us. Okay? He is Uncle Frank Mitchell from Moesha. Okay? Oh, Lord, what's going on with that hair, Uncle Frank? Can you just be bald, Uncle Frank? I think you can, Uncle Frank. It would be better than whatever is happening here. Oh, Lord. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting away from the story. So, Randall meets with Uncle Frank. And, of course, he's giving them, a little heat because he missed out on the drinks that they were having that night that he had to talk to that guy about the bus routes and everything. That was last episode. I remember when he had to fire Brenda, Belinda, whatever her name was. Y'all know who I'm talking about if you were here last week, okay? Just as they're about to sit down and have whatever important conversation that they need to have, he gets a call from Tess's school. She had a panic attack, so he has to go. Randall goes to get her, and when they get home, she is agitated and doesn't want to talk. Beth gets home shortly after, and Randall is explaining what the nurse at the school said about the panic attack that she had. And, Randall is like, she's just like me. And this is something that is obviously bothering him. And she gets upset and says that she's nothing like him and runs upstairs. And I was like, girl, no, you did not say that to your awesome ass daddy. Let me say something, okay? I know that we are in a new day and time when you are supposed to let your kids express themselves emotionally without feeling like every time they express themselves, it is some type of disrespect if it is disagreeable with how you feel as a parent, okay? I understand all of that, but I feel like as a child, there needs to be some consideration for your parents' feelings. And I think that somebody needs to check you immediately whenever you decide to disregard your parents' feelings and say something as mean as you don't want to be like them, as if you have a choice in the matter. First of all, you have half of their DNA. Second of all, whatever biological or mental traits they have passed down to you, sis, I'd like to tell you that you don't have a choice in the matter. Okay? You don't have a choice. You just got to work through what they gave you. My pa gave me anger issues. Okay? I'm a nervous wreck because of this nigga. But at the same time, gave me everything else good that he could possibly give me. The good that he gave me outweighed giving me anxiety the way he had, okay? So I totally understood this, except for Randall has a better understanding of what he was going through. See, my daddy was born in 1948. So my daddy is the age that Randall's daddy was, okay? And they didn't call things what they call them now. There's a totally different time frame. And for black men, you don't have the space to have these moments where you can't control your emotions or you seem weak. It is not weak, but it is the way people perceived it. You know what I'm saying? So it's already like this hard thing, and for her to be so harsh towards him, knowing he already knows what he's done and feels bad about it. I was just like, oh my God, I know you're not supposed to hit him, but Beth has this memory of when she and William had a conversation right after Randall had his first big nervous breakdown. And William says, he really regrets passing that on to Randall, just like Randall regrets passing it on to Tess. And I felt that moment so much. I was also very happy to see William. Okay, you know what I'm saying? We love him. So whenever there's a flashback with him and Beth, I just love it. So they just didn't have a name for it back. Like I said, when William and my father were young men, they didn't have anything for that. And some parents didn't know how to counteract that. But thank God William's mother did. And she would pour a glass of seltzer and tell him to wait for the bubbles to settle. And that would help him refocus and calm himself down. So Beth goes and gets Tess out of her room, goes and get Randall out of his office. Y'all come down to the kitchen right now. I say right now. I love Beth. Okay. So they come downstairs and she explains to Tess that her father has always been like this nervous person that is always trying to make everybody else happy. And it's something that she had to deal with. But it also made him the caring, dedicated person that he is. And even though they don't like that they share this thing, she will not take any disrespect of one of the three of her favorite people. Okay? Now, I don't know who the three favorite people was. I feel like the three favorite people was Tess and the baby, Annie, and Randall, right? That's the three favorite people for Beth. Okay, I hope that's who it was. Okay, because at first I thought William might have been in there. Okay, because she then tells them about how William had it. And William was regretful for passing it down to Randall. So they just need to understand that even though Randall is giving you, this thing that's passed down to him, he's still giving you so many other wonderful things. And because you have this anxiety, you will be a high achiever. You will achieve great things because of this. So don't think about it as all bad. But whenever it's getting too much, she pulls out the 2 glasses and she pours the seltzer and she tells them, wait for the bubbles to settle. Okay? We good? But I like the way she checked Tess about the way she talked to Randall, because that was very important. That needed to be rectified. Okay? And then Tess says that she talked to one of the girls at school. She tells her that story she told Deja about how the girl was like, do you think this guy is hot? And instead of saying, no, I'm gay, or I like girls, like she thought she would, she kind of was like, yeah. Because in the moment, I guess she just kind of clammed up and got nervous. But now it's going to be a whole thing when she has to re-explain this to people and why she said the guy was hot then. So it's this whole thing about identity that she's trying to figure out right now. And even though it seems like a small thing, I appreciated when Randall took her hand and was like, that's a lot, but we're going to figure it out. And she was like, okay. And she got up and walked away. And I was just like, I cannot stand y'all. Okay? Because it's like all of me. So, y'all, Rebecca shows up at Kate's, still current time, okay? And Kate is like, are you my present, Mom? And she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, honey. I came to see the baby. So she comes on inside, and like a few hours later, we see Rebecca like hauling something in the door. And y'all, it's the old piano. And this is her gift to her daughter so that her daughter will play the piano for her son. Especially considering how little Jack wasn't very responsive to the music class that Kate went to with him last episode. So hopefully the piano will help with that. And we know how much music affected little Jack because he grows up to become this huge artist. So you see how all of these little small things, like it's a grand gesture, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, you get a piano. You never think how these little things are gonna affect your kid and who they become when they grow up. So it was just like all the feels, y'all, all the feels. The good tears, okay, the good ones. When Kate sat down and looked through the seat of the piano, she found the Polaroid pictures that Beth had taken from that dinner when her boyfriend and Sophie and Randall and Beth and everybody were at the house. And she looks at the picture of her and that boyfriend and she shakes her head and she shows it to her mom. And Rebecca is like, I'm so sorry, honey, that I didn't see what was going on. I was still having such a hard time after your dad passed away. I didn't see what was happening. And Kate says, I didn't see it either, Mom. So that's how we know that something happened with that boyfriend. And the way he showed up at her house, yeah, probably controlling, abusive boyfriend. Probably. I can't wait to see how that unfolds. Probably ending in Kevin kicking somebody's ass. So y'all, let's talk about Kevin. Kevin is ruining Uncle Nicky's peace. Okay, reminiscing on ice cream and how Jack used to cut the ice cream out the box and, cut it like a cake and all of this here. And Uncle Nicky is just so not here for it. Like, he's just used to the quiet and being alone. So having Kevin there constantly doing this and begging for his attention is kind of exhausting. But Kevin says that once upon a time is being Cassidy. That is what I call her, okay? I feel like I have to say this every episode just so y'all know in case it's new people. Once upon a time is Cassidy, okay? But once upon a time is being honored at a hockey game. And so Kevin says, we're going to go. They're honoring veterans. We're going to go. We're going to have a good time, whatever, whatever. So when they get there, Once Upon a Time has her son and her ex with her. Her ex says that he's glad to finally meet the grown man his kid keeps saying is one of his best friends. They will not let that go. Nikki tells him that he has the strangest relationships with people. Kevin tries to talk to the ex, but he's giving no act right. Like he's, he don't really want to talk to him. And then during the ceremony, he's kind of looking at his phone, kind of distracted. Nikki is also having a hard time with all of the noises and the people, and he needed to leave. After the ceremony, in the car on the way home, Once Upon a Time says that she doesn't even think the ex likes her because he left like during the ceremony. And she was like, forget love. I don't even think he likes me because Kevin is trying to get them back together. So when they get home, Kevin asks the ex, why would you even come if you were going to spend the whole night on your phone? And the ex says, I was looking at my phone to keep from crying. I've known Once Upon a Time since she was 15 years old, and I knew then when I bumped into her before her books hit the ground that she was going to be my favorite person. And the very thing that she was being honored for took away my favorite person. Basically saying that the war broke Once Upon a Time. And he doesn't like to rejoice about that. And he was uncomfortable and feeling some type of way. But he tells Kevin to stay away from his wife. Okay? I can't stay away from my wife. And he goes inside, and Once Upon a Time comes outside. And Kevin is like, he still likes you. He still likes you. But it's not going to work out because we see who's going to be together. Once Upon a Time and Kevin. Kevin goes over to Uncle Nicky's to check on him, and Uncle Nicky answers the door, and he's like, you don't have to worry, I'm still sober. And then he tells him, the story about the ice cream. He was like, I may not be a great storyteller, and I hate people, but your dad wasn't the only one who did the ice cream thing. Okay, the first person to teach us that was your grandfather, and he may have been a son of a bitch, but he wasn't so bad all the time. And one of the things that he would do when he was being okay was the cake ice cream thing, where he, take the flaps down and cut the ice cream into a piece of cake, and he'd ask if you were good, and if you were really good, you got a bigger piece of ice cream cake, And so he asked Kevin if he was good, and he was like, well, kind of, yeah, a little bit, besides for this one thing, yeah. The thing with the ex, right? And he's like, okay, well, I've been better than you, so I get a bigger piece than you. I love Uncle Nicky and Kevin's relationship because I feel like it gives Kevin this link to his dad, but it also shows him what his future could be like if he doesn't stay sober and get his life together. Like Uncle Nicky is, as sweet as he may be, is a cautionary tale. And I like the fact that he's there to be with this man, because regardless of how honorary Uncle Nicky may be, he still needs someone. And he can act like he don't want Kevin around, but we know he do. So yeah, y'all, they so sweet. Anyway, this episode was so good. I cannot wait to see a few storylines play out. Okay, we need to get back into Deja and Malik. I want to see what's going to happen with Kate and his boyfriend from high school. I want to see what's going to happen with Beth and Randall, because Beth told Randall that she feels like he needs to go to therapy. She found a therapist for Tess, but she also found one for him. But he feels like he doesn't have to talk to anybody. He's good. And she was like, but baby, like, you don't think that maybe we could catch it before you have a nervous breakdown again? And he kind of felt some type of way, but she's like, look, we just moved. You have a new job. It's all these new pressures. This is something that you're going to constantly have to keep in check. Let's go talk to somebody. Randall said no. And then he turned around and laid down, y'all. So I don't know what they going to do. But I know that he needs help. And if he keep waiting for him to have another nervous breakdown, you don't know what could happen. Those anxiety things could affect other things. You can have a stroke. You can get cancer. I don't care what nobody say. Stress and anxiety and anger, those types of strong emotions definitely can prolong themselves into actual physical illnesses. And that's just how I feel about it, But we gonna see what goes on, y'all. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.